Welcome back to the series that focuses on the persona of each of the P3 main characters and how it relates to the mythological figure it's based on. Shinji's persona Castor and Koromaru's persona Cerberus will be the main focus of this next installment. Now let's dive right in. So why am I covering Shinji and Koromaru in the same video? Wouldn't it make more sense to make a combo video with Shinji and Akihiko? Sure, on some level it does, given the relationship Castor and Polydeuces have as brothers. However, in the context of this series, combining Shinji and Koromaru made more sense to me. Mostly because both of them never see their initial persona transform, and the reason for this serves as an interesting dichotomy in terms of each one's role in the story. In other words, Shinji's Castor never evolves because he dies before resolving the negative aspects of the Hierophant Arcana, or aka his greatest flaws. On the other hand, Koromaru is the only character to begin as a mature individual already. Koro encompasses the upright traits of his tarot archetype from the beginning, with his persona's stats and growth reflecting that. With that said, let's dive into the actual mythological symbolism, starting off with Shinji first. Castor was the twin brother of Polydeuces in Greek mythology. The majority of the myths revolved around Castor being mortal, while his brother Polydeuces possessed immortality. While they both shared the same mother, they had different fathers. This likely inspired Shinji and Akihiko's backstories of basically being brothers, even though they weren't directly related by blood, what with growing up in the same orphanage since their early childhoods. So why was Castor mortal? Well, he was conceived by the mortal Spartan king Tyndareus, unlike Polydeuces, who was fathered by a Greek god. I won't be focusing on Polydeuces' background since he'll be covered in Akihiko's video. So back to Castor, his mortality is super fitting, right? Since Shinji is the one to perish, leaving Akihiko to carry on his torch. Another part of Castor's myth that's particularly fitting to Shinji's role is when Castor and his brother joined the legendary hero Jason on his quest to obtain the Golden Fleece. If you haven't seen it already, the Chidori video highlighted how her persona, Medea, was one of the most important figures in helping Jason secure this fleece. In this light, this myth is reflected in the help Shinji extended to Chidori and her buddies. He traded info with them in exchange for those pills that could repress a persona. But just in general, the mythological tales of Castor and his brother were filled with great adventure and battle. This is showcased in Shinji's past history fighting shadows with Akihiko and Mitsuru as the three initial members of Cease. Castor's battle prowess is also seen in the persona's stats, with its sky-high strength stat and great endurance. Its moveset also boasts some of the strongest physical attacks in the game, with names that are actually very fitting to Shinji's story. Ken's mom met her fatal end at the hands of Castor, and Shinji was death-bound in the end. Finally, the design of the persona reflects Castor and his brother's renown as the gods of horsemanship. These two have often been depicted riding horses in art and literature throughout history. Castor also shares the same hair and body type with his brother, Akihiko's Polydeuces, and they both share armor that's fitting for skilled warriors. However, compared to the lighter color scheme of Polydeuces, Castor is completely black. Black is traditionally worn at funerals and when in mourning over someone's death, which is symbolic on two fronts: guilt for having killed Ken's mom, and his own tragic fate in the story. Finally, unlike Polydeuces' healthy human face, Castor's face is gaunt with hollow eyes, essentially already dead, as Shinji basically is inside. So that about wraps up Shinji and Castor. Now let's move on to Koromaru's persona, Cerberus. In Greek mythology, Cerberus was the three-headed guard dog of the underworld and a loyal servant to its god Hades. Just like Cerberus, Koro-chan also was a loyal servant to his already deceased master by defending his shrine from the shadow that was trying to enter. Cerberus viciously prevented any of the dead from escaping the underworld, as well as barred the living from entering without permission from Hades. In a similar light, Koromaru ferociously fights the shadows with cease, preventing these monsters from leaving Tartarus, while also fighting to protect the lives of his friends. As for the three heads of Cerberus, some tales claim they symbolize the past, present, and future, while other myths say each head stands for birth, youth, and old age respectively. Either way, I find that the cohesive concept that comes across when all three are together can be symbolic of maturity or wholeness, which is fitting for Koromaru since he's the only character in the party to be the upright of his tarot archetype from the get-go. Now, one of the most interesting tales involving Cerberus has to do with his encounter with a mortal who had a special gift for music. This mortal was none other than Orpheus, the initial persona of the music-loving, MP3 player-touting main character of P3. Orpheus's bride was bitten by a venomous snake and died, then was sent to the underworld. Afterwards, Orpheus could do nothing but play mournful tunes on his lyre, so the gods encouraged him to travel to the underworld to rescue his love. Upon encountering Cerberus, Orpheus played soothing music, sending the beast into a deep slumber. Perhaps this is reflected in how Koromaru is always relaxed around the MC, getting many opportunities to release his built-up energy when the protag takes him out for walks. As for the persona's design, we see the three heads and the dark coloring of the fur. The feet are in the shape of pitchforks, most likely in reference to the underworld and the common imagery of the devil carrying this tool. And though this may just be me, I'm gonna go ahead and say that Koromaru's persona doesn't look all that menacing. I'd like to think this is due to Koro having control over his animalistic nature, despite being a dog. This fits with the upright strength arcana's traits, and I go more into this topic in the video linked in the cards above if you're interested. Now, finally, let's look at Cerberus's stats and moveset. Aside from his outstanding agility, the rest of the persona's stats are balanced, as a mature mind would be. The power to cast fire and dark spells is well matched with the fiery and gloomy depictions commonly associated with hell and/or the underworld. And to wrap this up in general, Cerberus was fiercely loyal, kind, and friendly to his master and all the denizens of the underworld, just as Koromaru is sweet to all the members of Cease. So whether we're speaking about the menacing guard dog of the underworld or P3's fluffy companion, there's no denying that they both live up to the title, man's best friend. Alright, that's it in regards to Castor and Cerberus. I hope you enjoyed, and it'd really help me out if you could leave a like if you liked this video. Fuka's personas Lucia and Juno will be next in this series, so consider subscribing so you don't miss out. And until next time, take care. See ya!